All right, everybody, shalom and welcome to the Yishai Fleischer Show, broadcasting live from Judea to the world. You're a part of it wherever you are. Shalom. So good to be with you. I want to hear where you're from. Let's get the show started with a little bit of warmth from around the world. So please leave me a message, a comment saying where you are from and send your blessings from wherever you are from, indeed. I want to hear about it. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have a great show. We have a very special guest. I'm excited about it. So I'm excited to be with you. So let's get to it. Let's go live. Let's have that fun. Let's make it happen. We are going live from the land of Israel. And as we go live, I want to start actually with a kind of a pre-topic. And so everybody can definitely start, warming up. Get your coffee, get your stuff. In fact, I could use some coffee myself. Malka, can I have some coffee before I keep going? Okay. I am excited to be with you, and I want to start with a kind of Torah topic, as all of you guys are coming in right now, and there's people coming in from Colorado and Boston and New Brunswick, Canada, and North Carolina. So I'm saying blessings to you guys as well. Shalom, shalom from Seattle, from Los Angeles, from Portland. I love this technology because it just brings people together from Brazil and from other places all over the world. It's just one of the coolest things in the world. Shalom in New York. Okay, shalom lachem. Nachi. Shalom from Miami. We're really connecting with everybody. It's just the best. It's just the best fun. It's good to have folks from Florida. Very good. Okay, let's start with a Torah thought until everybody shows up and comes in. Just want to start with a little bit of a Torah thought. This last Torah portion, we read Vayetze. Vayetze, it's about Jacob running away from his brother. And Jacob is going away from his brother because his brother wants to kill him. His brother wants to kill him, and he is now going to leave his mother, never to see her alive again. And he's running away from the land of Israel to exile, to find a wife, turns out to be wives, to make a family, to make a household, and to hopefully bring that wealth and that blessing from the exile to the land of Israel. And at some point, he is just all alone. He's on a hilltop just by himself. There's nobody with him. And the sun sets. And in that hilltop, he sets up rocks to protect his head so that no animals come and try to eat it. Okay, so nobody kind of bites his head. And he puts his head on a rock as a pillow. There's no pillow. There's only this rocky mountain in the night, and it's windy and it's cold because that's what it's like in those mountains. And he must think to himself, my God, I have indeed garnered the curses and not the blessings. I tricked my father. My brother is after me. I have failed, and I'm alone in this world. And now I'm bereft of the tent, and bereft of the pillow, and bereft of my mother, and bereft of all the things that I knew as I was living in my father's household. And I made an awful mistake. And he falls asleep. And then God shows him a vision of the ladder. To me, this vision of the ladder is the quintessence of Judaism, the quintessence of the godly relationship, the relationship between man and God. It's the number one most overt description graphically, most iconic image that will show us the relationship between man and God. That relationship is drawn, it's presented as a ladder between heaven and earth. And what we're told is that the ladder has got feet on the ground and its head is in the heavens. Feet on the ground, head in the heavens. Think about what a person's supposed to be, what a Jew is supposed to be. You're supposed to have feet on the ground, be in this world, but have your head in the heavens. Have big thoughts, but feet on the ground. Big thoughts, but feet on the ground. Uh, and be earthly, but be heavenly at the same time. That is the message. That's the plainest message of the ladder. And then we see that the ladder has got angels going up and down the ladder. What is that? Well, our sages teach us that that means that prayers go up and God's emissaries and his blessings come down. When we pray, one of the things that we can visualize is the ladder. You have a ladder in front of you, then you know that your prayer is going up to heaven. I'm sending it up to heaven. I'm sending it as an angel up to heaven. And then as it comes down as a blessing, as a fulfillment, as God's communique, as God's relationship. Thank you, delightful Malka. Is that fake milk? Thank you so much. We're going to miss you, Malka, on the show today. Everybody wants to have Malka on the show. If you have extra time, Malka, call in before 8. That was see, I said I had a prayer. I said, Lord, can I get some coffee? And then my beloved wife brought me some coffee, Baruch Hashem. Thank you, Hashem. Thank you, Malka. But the ladder also symbolizes so much more. So much more does the ladder symbolize. The ladder symbolizes Sinai, Mount Sinai, and that the angels went up, and that is Moshe Rabbeinu, Moses. He went up to receive the Torah and brought down the Torah. So the Medrash says that the ladder symbolizes Mount Sinai. The ladder also symbolizes the temple in Jerusalem with its feet on the ground, because it's the temple's on the ground, but the smoke of the offerings go up to the heavens, and then the blessings come down. So that's another aspect of what the ladder represents. And yet another aspect of what the ladder represents is the kings of the nations that go up and come down. Countries go up and they come down. Great empires go up and come down. And that's, I found that in the Midrash. I'm not making that up. I found that in the Jewish Midrash, that the ladder represents that the various kingdoms and czars and empires go up and then they come down. And the rungs represent the years that they have as rulers. And it also represents the Jewish exiles and the Jewish rebuilding of the temples, and the third temple that we're pining away for. The bottom line, my friends, is that I read this Shabbat, that the ladder, Jacob saw everything. He saw everything. He saw Nebuchadnezzar, and his great giant statue, and then Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah bringing it down. He saw everything in this thing. And the simple look at this. Somebody's writing to me. Somebody writes about Hashem. Why do you call him the name? That's pretty disrespectful. Well, we think that not taking his name in vain and referring to God as the name is the most respectful way to do it. It's the most respectful way to do it, because we don't just throw around God's name and just say, oh, you're my buddy and I can just call you by your first name. No, we call him the name because he is the great name. And so the ladder is something. Now, I just recommend that we find a way to incorporate the ladder into our lives. Do we have a ladder necklace? Do we have I even, when I lived in Beit El, the place where the dream of the ladder took place, we even bought, for the synagogue, we bought a hand that you read the Torah with, like you point at the Torah, and it had a ladder in the back. Amazing. So the ladder is very important. The ladder is a consciousness that we have to have. When I pray, I many times visualize a ladder in front of me. I visualize that ladder in front of me that helps me send my prayers upwards to the heavens. And I also visualize the ladder bringing the blessings back down. Okay. This person that wrote to me before about the name of God, oh, yeah, now writes the way that this person thinks that the name of God is pronounced. And we don't pronounce the name of God, it's ineffable in our minds. Okay. That's Jewish tradition. That's our way. That's our Jewish way, is to not call out the name of God by name. But I want to really throw out to you this idea about incorporating the ladder into your life. The ladder is the ladder is everything. We're going up step by step. We try to get closer. We try to move up, and we also come down. And we are in this world, and we ourselves have to be the ladder. We have to be the ladder for people asking us for things, and then requests coming through us as well. We have to be a ladder for other people as well. The ladder is a big blessing. It's a big blessing, and it is a vision of kind of like, he kind of like saw everything: the good, the bad, and the ugly, and the beautiful. He saw it once. I maybe have a special relationship to the ladder because I lived for 7 years very close to where that ladder took place, in Beit El. And I use it as a visualization. I also see all the Hebrew letters in the ladder as well. Hebrew letters are shaped in such a way that you could, they kind of have these 90-degree turns. There are many, many ways to connect to the ladder. So let me know if you connect to the ladder. Like, I'll give you an example. I'll put this up. I'll put this up as images. 1 second. Just 1 second. I'll share my screen. You know, I look at the escalator, and I think that the escalator in many ways is a representation of the ladder of heaven and earth, right? Whoops, here's the picture that I want to show you. You see this picture? I love this. This to me is like the angels going up and down. They're going up this escalator. I wanted to make a piece of art in Jerusalem and in Beit El, of this kind of escalator ensconced in glass. Like, I love crazy escalator tunnels like this. You know, you go an escalator thing. Wait, do you see the? That's not what I wanted to show you. Hold on 1 second. When I see this escalator, I think it's beautiful. I think there's something very beautiful about it. There's something very beautiful about this image, of angels going up and down, and we could see it in our life. We could see it in our life, and I really hope that we can really believe that there are angels in our life. Yes, Sulam Yaakov. That's right, Deborah Friedman. That's right, Sulam Yaakov. That's exactly right. I don't know what that means. Yeah, okay. I guess that's true. That's right. God don't like ugly. I guess. I don't know. Shalom from Norway. Shalom to people in New York, and shalom to folks in Chicago. And I saw some more people from Florida. People saying hi from everywhere. Thank you so much. Shalom from Texas, of course. Can't live without Texas and India. Thank you very much.
Of a ladder connecting heaven and earth.
There you go.
Jacob named the place Beit El, House of God. 20 years.
There you go. That is a segment of Jacob's Ladder, part of our film of the biblical highway. So, yeah, I just wanted to give you a sense of that, and how important that is to me, and I think it could be to you. And I think that if we incorporate the ladder into our lives, then you'll see a lot. There'll be a lot of blessings that you'll sense, because you'll really feel that it's a great way to visualize. It's a great way to visualize um, um, the relationship with God. We can't really envision God. Shalom from Greece, and shalom from California and Ohio. Shalom to everybody. When you visualize, our producer writes, there are so many ways Jews speak about the Creator, Borei Olam, which is the Creator of the world, Hakadosh Baruch Hu, the Holy One, blessed be He. And there's many in Yiddish they say Eibishter, which means like creator, and then there's father, there's king, melech malchem lachim. There's so many ways to talk about God, but we don't talk about God's name per se. Shalom to Kentucky, shalom to Netherlands. We were just talking about the ladder and incorporating the ladder into our life. I really do believe that that's a thing that we could all add in. And the Bible, shalom from Missouri. And when the Bible gives us that opportunity, it's like, look, Jacob dreamt of a ladder. You too can dream of a ladder. And when I thank God for, and we Jewish people, we thank God as commanded for bread, for food, for sustenance. We thank God for going to the bathroom. We thank God. We pray to God 3 really 4 times a day, right? We have the 3 main prayers, and then there's a short prayer before you go to sleep, which is awesome. Shalom from Australia. Have a great day, Yishai. Good day. Good day to you, Australia. Thank you so much. And so that's my hope for you. And if you want to send me a picture, of a ladder in your life, something that is ladder-like, that connects heaven and earth. It could be a painting, could be a picture, it could be anything that I appreciate it. Write me an email, yishai@yishaifleischer.com. I'd love to see that. Shalom from the Bahamas, Aruba, Jamaica. Ooh, I want to take you to Key Largo, Montego, baby. Why don't we go? That's right. A little bit of Bahamas time. I could use a little Bahamas time. Not in the Bahamas per se, although it would be nice, but just a little relaxed time. So that would be nice. Shalom from Serbia. Thank you very much to the great Serb people who have always been supporting the Jewish people. Thank you very much. And that's right. From Kokomo, absolutely. We take it faster. We get there faster if we take it slow. Am I right? Okay, let's get to work, friends. I hope that we got a little bit of a message about the ladder. Let's get to work. First, let's get to PM Netanyahu, Prime Minister Netanyahu. And because the show is live right now, but we also cut into segments, so I have to start it up as a segment. And as I do, as I go into the issues that we want to tackle from the land of Israel today, I want to remind you that you can super chat, and super chats make a big difference. It's a great way for us to read your content and for you to bless our content. So thank you very much. I'm Israel Chai from Sarasota, Florida. Also a beautiful place. I've been there. Really beautiful on the Gulf there. All right, let's listen. No, let me start that again. Hold on one second. First thing, let me say a blessing. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Shakol Niya B'Dvaro. See, I did use God's name, but even there, I called them the name which means Lord, as opposed to his name. Okay, let's start it up. David Levy, realtor, writes, I saw in my feed that Netanyahu is asking Prime Minister Netanyahu is asking for a pardon from President Herzog. Let's get a little bit more information about that. Here's Prime Minister Netanyahu himself explaining his actions and why he's asking for a pardon.
כמעט עשור עבר מאז החלו החקירות נגדי. המשפט בענייני מתנהל קרוב ל6 שנים.
Okay, it's been a long time since I've been on trial now for 6 years, and it's expected to continue for many more years. And as Trump said so eloquently, it's like cigars and champagne. Who cares? Right? Says Netanyahu. Come on.
צפוי להימשך עוד הרבה שנים.
Look at the guy himself. He looks a little tired. He's got some bags under his eyes. He's like, come on. I got to be doing other things than dealing with this silly trial.
ככל שהעדויות והראיות המזכות שמקריסות לחלוטין את טיעוני השווא נגדי נחשפות בבית המשפט, וככל שמתברר שהתשתית הראייתית נגדי גובשה תוך ביצוע עבירות חמורות, האינטרס האישי שלי היה ונותר להמשיך את התהליך עד סופו.
All right, so he's saying, it's the trial's been shown to be ridiculous, but I think I've wanted to continue this to its end.
עד לזיכוי המלא בכל האישומים.
I want to get fully acquitted.
אבל המציאות הביטחונית והמדינית, האינטרס הלאומי, אלה מחייבים אחרת. מדינת ישראל ניצבת מול אתגרים כבירים ולצידם הזדמנויות אדירות. כדי להדוף את האיומים, כדי לממש את ההזדמנויות, נדרשת אחדות לאומית.
Okay, so what we need right now is unity, and it's time. These trials are dislodging the opportunity for unity, and therefore, I even though I want to see this trial go all the way to the end, it's starting to interfere with bigger and more important opportunities.
המשך המשפט קורע אותנו מבפנים, מעורר מחלקות הזאת, מעצים שסעים. אני בטוח, כמו רבים אחרים בעם, שסיום מיידי של המשפט יסייע רבות להנמיך את הלהבות ולקדם פיוס רחב שהמדינה שלנו כל כך זקוקה לו.
Okay, so he uses the word pius, which means national reconciliation. Reconciliation nation. That's what he's calling for right now. Right? Reconciliation nation. Is that right? I think that's true. That's what he's asking for. And he says if we end the trial now, it'll be a giant leap towards reconciliation.
התלבטתי רבות בעניין זה. אבל מה שקרה בזמן האחרון הכריע את הכף. בגלל החלטה שנובעת מהרכב השופטים הדן בתיק, אני נדרש להעיד 3 פעמים בשבוע. 3 פעמים בשבוע. זו דרישה בלתי אפשרית שאיננה נדרשת משום אזרח אחר בישראל. כמו כן, עמדו לנגד עיניי פניותיו החוזרות ונשנות של הנשיא טראמפ לנשיא המדינה.
So he says, like, I'm being asked to do something that's impossible. I'm being asked to give testimony 3 times a week. And it's like, it's the most boring testimony you ever heard in your life. Like, this is not a juicy case. It's like, it's just the most boring, stupid stuff. You go there, just like Huckabee went, and just roll your eyes. You're like, this is not important stuff. This is not a serious case. And then he says, well, President Trump has also asked for my pardoning.
הנשיא טראמפ קרא לסיום מיידי של המשפט כדי שאוכל יחד איתו לקדם ביתר שאת אינטרסים חיוניים המשותפים לישראל ולארצות הברית בחלון זמנים שספק אם יחזור.
Okay, so now he's saying something a little bit more substantive. He says, it's a very pregnant moment. There's a lot of opportunities. The Middle East is in a flux, in a crisis, and I'm needed. And this is a big waste of time. And I got to get back to prime ministerial duties.
אזרחי ישראל היקרים, פעם אחר פעם נבחרתי בבחירות דמוקרטיות וקיבלתי את האמון שלכם להמשיך לכהן כראש ממשלת ישראל בראש וראשונה כדי לממש יעדים היסטוריים אלה.
So he says, you want to talk about trials. There's a trial every few years. It's called elections. Do people trust me or not? Is the nation behind me or not? Does the nation think I'm criminal or not? It's a very interesting thing. He's putting the trial back into the public's hands. He's saying, well, if this is a question of legitimacy, it's clear that the nation sees me as legitimate. It's an interesting thing to bank on. He's saying, like, look, the trial that's happening is one thing, but the question is, like, is the nation behind this trial? If this is indeed a political trial, see that politics is clear. People are behind me.
מטעמים אלה הגישו היום עורכי דינים בקשה לחנינה לנשיא המדינה.
Okay, so now he's getting to the brass tacks. My lawyers have asked for a pardon by the president of Israel, Isaac Herzog.
אני מצפה שכל מי שטובת המדינה לנגד עיניו יתמוך בצעד זה.
So he's saying, don't support
אזרחי
me.
ישראל.
He says, don't support me. Support anybody who wants peace and normalization and decency and furtherance of our national goals. If you believe in that, then you should support the president's pardon. I'm not sure why they don't just say we can't have this trial while he's the prime minister. If we're going to have this trial, let's have it afterwards. I'm not sure why we don't say that. Like a sitting prime minister not dealing with a massive corruption or massive criminal charges, but these minor things, be like, you want to have this trial, fine, have it afterwards. But after Trump spoke and said, listen, I'm asking you, why don't you pardon the guy? This is all silliness. Now, Prime Minister Netanyahu is putting it directly to President Herzog and saying, like Trump said, pardon me, come on, let's get on with the real business. All right, let's hear an analysis of this from I-24, how they understand, I-24 News here in Israel, how they understand this Netanyahu request for a pardon.
This is the classic Benita choice between peace and justice, right? Netanyahu is essentially saying, choose peace, in a sense. This is tearing apart the country, and you can put a stop to it, Isaac Herzog, by granting me this pardon. Of course, Netanyahu is a conflict of interest here. He doesn't only get peace out of this, of course, he also gets the pardon. But in any event, this is his argument that he's making to Isaac Herzog and to Israeli society, and it has to be said, Benita, the opposition at least agrees with this in part, and we heard it from Ben-Dror Yamini. There are terms on which he would be willing to see this pardon go forward. Again, not necessarily on the terms Netanyahu has put out in his opening bid, but there is some receptiveness to this argument that we're seeing in the Israeli opposition. On the other hand, justice, right? Were Netanyahu to get the pardon, he would not necessarily get justice. There is a possibility he would be found guilty and that sentence, that verdict would be held up on appeal, and he wouldn't ultimately have to pay a price for his crime. And that's the argument, of course, on the other side. We come across this choice between peace and justice all the time, and here it's at the heart of this case. As for how Isaac Herzog is looking at this, look, Benita.
Okay, first thing, Owen Alterman, smart guy at I-24 News, a good analyst. Thank you very much. We'll keep going with this analysis in a second. I think there's another thing, which is people don't believe this is a real trial. They think it's a political trial. They think they're just trying to bring down Netanyahu because they don't like the guy. So they're finding all kinds of very boring, very silly, accusations against him. What? That he had an impact on the media. Media and politics are intertwined. Nobody says that he made a big payoff or something like that. What? That he had too many champagnes or cigars. It's nothing in the grand scale of politics. So, when you look at it, you're just like, I don't know if I believe that these guys are actually holding up a real trial. When you listen to it, you're just like, this is fake stuff. This is conscience of stuff. This is a political trial. My kids were watching that movie. What is it? The trial of the seven in the Democratic National Convention in Chicago. What is it called? There's a movie about the trial of the seven. And the bottom line is that it was a political trial. Okay. It doesn't matter if it's a left or right thing. I'm not getting into that. I'm just saying there's a sense here it's a political trial and that there's a witch hunt against Netanyahu.
I think Herzog has two tools in his hands that he can use, and one he's already whipped out of the toolkit. The first is he can say it's not just me making the decision. It's also the system, right? What's the next step and what has been emphasized by the president's residence over the course of the last few hours? The process, it's not just me, it's the system. First, this goes to the pardons department of the...
We're supposed to remember that there is a pardon system by the president. That is part of the system, right? Sometimes presidents can pardon.
Ministry of Justice, where the justice minister, in this case, a different minister, Amichai Eliyahu, have to give their opinions. Also, Israel's attorney general, of course, who's very controversial in Israeli politics, Gali Barav-Miara, will also have her chance to give her opinion. It's not just him, it's them, and then his own legal advisor. So it's not just me, I'm part of a system. They're the ones who are ultimately going to be deciding. Benita, it's not only me. And the second tool that Isaac Herzog have is time. This will all take a lot of time, this process. It's not even clear there's a deadline. Herzog may be able to just sit on this for months and months and months, and in a sense, not have to make a decision, not have to come out formally on one side or on the other. As for Netanyahu, I think Netanyahu sees this as a win-win. If he gets the pardon, he gets the pardon. There's an obvious win. And if he doesn't get the pardon, if Herzog says no, or even if he sits on it, Netanyahu can use this as part of his theory of the case. He's running against the legal system. He's running against the media, the universities, the military, and now he can add on to it the president as well. Benita, his core argument to his supporters is these institutions have been coming after us, after me, and after you for decades. He can just add another one to the list if the pardon doesn't come through. Okay,
so what can I tell you? I, on the one hand, look at Netanyahu and can tell you, I don't actually love Netanyahu. See, I'm on the right, right? I'm supposed to be defending Netanyahu because I don't like the people who are attacking him. I don't like them at all. I don't believe that they're real. I believe the whole thing is fake. Okay. I don't believe that he's corrupt. I don't believe it at all. I think that he is honest. I think he cares about Israel. I just don't think he's corrupt. Okay. I just don't think so. That's on the one hand. On the other hand, I think that he deserves to be fired. I think that Netanyahu should be kicked out of the job big time. I think anybody who was at the helm on October 7th should be let go. Okay. Especially somebody who delivered $15 million from Qatar to Hamas for months. Every single month, $15 million came through the Israeli government. Who was at the head of that? Netanyahu. Okay. Netanyahu released the terrorists who would become the leaders of October 7th. 22,000 people are dead. Okay. So I don't think Netanyahu should stay in power at all. Okay. I'm disgusted by the fact that our government is stayed. Remember what happened to Golda? She had to leave. She got kicked out. Okay. After the Yom Kippur fiasco. And so to here, it's a fiasco. So I don't like Netanyahu per se. He's not doing my policies. Okay. I don't like the idea of Turkey and Qatar now taking part in controlling Gaza. I don't like the fact that he told me he would get rid of Hamas and he hasn't. I don't like it at all. Okay. But still, I don't like the people who are attacking Netanyahu. I don't like this trial. I think it's fake. I think it's wasting our time. I think it makes our country look like a kangaroo country in a kangaroo court. Okay. I don't like this stuff. I don't like the little internal power squabbles of the elite. I think that these folks, these guys are too godless. And I just have I don't like anybody in this thing. I don't like fake trials. I don't like that the prime minister's on trial. I don't like that these self-appointed, these people who I have no doubt that every single one of them is putting Netanyahu on trial is way more guilty of way more corruption. I have no doubt about that. I don't think that Netanyahu is corrupt. I just don't. But do I like Netanyahu? No, I don't. No, I don't. I don't like his policies. And I think that here's a guy who's famous for being a great diplomat, a great statesman. Our name is mud. Our global reputation's in the toilet because of weakness. Our army has been shrunken by Netanyahu and company. They failed to see something under their nose. Heads should roll for this stuff. So what do you want me to do? Stand up and say, oh, Netanyahu is totally just and everything's great. You know what? I think he is just from corruption. I think he's not corrupt. I think this trial should be closed down. But do I like the man? No. I wish he would leave. I do. I know. As an Anglo, I know a lot of you out there are like, whoa, because he speaks English and he looks so nice. He doesn't look nice to me. I don't like the way this war has been fought, even though there's been some great successes like the Iran strike. But even that could have been finished off even more. Netanyahu is a tactician. Netanyahu is a grass cutter. He's a lawn mower. He likes to mow the lawn, but he doesn't finish the job. He is like King Saul, and his time is his time, but it's time to switch him out. That is the bottom line. And so therefore, Netanyahu, do I agree with you that that you need to be doing other things? Yes. Do I agree with you that Trump would like to see you pardoned? I understand. Do I like the people who are putting you on trial? No. Do I think that they are corrupt liars? Yes. Do I think that you should leave voluntarily? Absolutely. Should have called for elections after October 7th, after some initial part of the war. I think you should have said, you know what? I'm not fit to lead this country. The blood of those people is in my head and my hands. That, you know what? You would have done that. I would have respected you. This speech that you gave now, that they should pardon you so that you could get back to work, I would respect it I didn't think that you were a guy who's applauding two-state solution ideas and not fighting for the lives of the future of Israel. You've allowed the future of Israel to be in the same situation as it was on October 6th. By the way, I want to say something. People say this to me, and it's very sweet. A lot of people say to me this stuff a lot. They say, Yishai, are you willing to run against Bibi? People say to me all the time, they say to me, like, you should run for prime minister. They say to me things like this, Yishai for PM. It's very, very sweet. Very, very sweet of you. And I would love to represent the state of Israel and be a representative of the people of Israel. Maybe one day I'll make it into the Knesset. But you don't run for PM. I'm doing my work in Hebron. I'm doing my work here on YouTube. I'm doing my best. But you can't expect somebody to become a prime minister. You got to become a Knesset member. And if you become a Knesset member and you show that you did a good job, then you become a minister. If you become a minister and you did a good job, then maybe you can run for prime minister. I personally don't think I've got that ability to handle such a massive job. It's easy for me to sit here and critique, but like to take the big job and to be under that kind of stress, do I think that Netanyahu is a great man? Yes. Do I like his policies? No. But, you have to have huge shoulders. I don't know. I don't think I have those kind of shoulders. And I would love to at least prove to myself that I could even do the first step. Here in my town in Judea, I am a town representative in our municipality. I'm a councilman in the municipality. I don't know if I'm doing a great job just in that role because I'm so busy with other stuff. In any case, thank you very much. And let's pray for good leadership, Bezrat Hashem. Okay, so that was Netanyahu on asking to get pardoned. I get it. Okay. I personally would pardon him. You know what I would do? I'd be like, if you pardon me, I'd call for immediate elections. That's a deal that I would take right now. Netanyahu says, pardon me, let's get this over with, and let's go to immediate elections right now. And I won't vote for him. I will not vote for Netanyahu. No, I will not. No, I would not. I haven't voted for him, and I won't vote for him. Sorry. That doesn't mean I don't respect him. That doesn't mean I won't honor him. Even the Torah tells us to honor our leaders. I think that he's a Zionist. I think that he's a Jew. I think that he could be more of a Zionist and more of a Jew. And maybe that's what we have to vote for the next leadership. Bezrat Hashem. Okay. Let's get to some other topics. We have a guest coming soon. Somebody writes very nicely. Lisa Jones says, you're a good, honest man. I try to be. You do a great job bringing Israel together. That's a big work. You're very passionate, Brother Yishai, praying for all of the beloveds, all of you guys. Absolutely, absolutely. Bezrat Hashem. Let's pray. Come on, let's have a ladder prayer. Come on. Come on, people. Let's see that ladder. Let's see that ladder. Let's see that ladder, Hashem. Give us that ladder. Actually, he says, what do you mean? I'm giving you the ladder right now. That's the thing about the ladder. The ladder is not like the Beit HaMikdash. The ladder is right there for you right now. You want the ladder? The ladder is right there. It's ready. It's right there. Just visualize the ladder. Hashem, I pray to you. I pray to you. I want the prayers to go up the ladder. And I see how your blessings come down. I was touring today some important people in Hebron and Hebron. And my guest was complaining bitterly about all kinds of stuff in Israel. And I said to the guest, I agree with you. And if I had time, if you gave me an hour, I would magnify all of your complaints for another hour. But that's not what it's about, is it? That's not really what it's about. What really it's about is to push God's dream forward. And he's got a plan and he's making it happen. And not everything that we think is right is what he thinks is right. He is doing great stuff. Somebody's asking fairly, who would you vote for? Well, I voted for Ben Gvir in the last elections, for the Ben Gvir party, for Otzma Yehudit, and I'm not ashamed about that. I'm happy about that. There are other great folks out there as well. I think Bezalel Smotrich is doing a very good job. I voted for Ben Gvir. I think he's done a great job. I'm very happy with my vote. If I'm not running, then that's probably who I'm going to vote for next time. When it comes to, I would vote for Smotrich. He's doing good work, and I like his party. I like many good people in his party. And I like many people in the Likud as well, frankly. There's many good people in the Likud. There's many good people in the Likud that I like a lot. There's a lot of strong people in the Likud. I would vote for them, probably less so because I don't want to see Netanyahu be the leader. But there are very, very many good parties to vote for. Says, yo, shouldn't there be young people coming up who fought in the war? She means running for the Knesset. Yes, we'll see what the parties are. We'll see what the parties are. You know, my good friend Baruch says to me that he won't vote for anybody who was in this Knesset, who was in the current Knesset, who was part of the what do they call it? The Conceptia of October 7th. I can hear that as well. There very well may be excellent new parties. Who knows? Maybe I'll be in one of those parties, but maybe not. But the point is that there will be many good people to vote for. Bezrat Hashem. Am Yisrael's got leaders. Am Yisrael's got prophets. Am Yisrael's got kings waiting to be born. King David was our great leader. We had him once. We'll have him again. Bezrat Hashem. Okay, let's go to another very important video, and that is the great thinker, intellectual, and journalist Melanie Phillips as she spoke at the Shurat Hadin conference. Let's watch her discussion.
Gentlemen, what is happening to us in the Jewish world is unprecedented. It is a global onslaught on the entire Jewish world. It is an onslaught that was triggered by the October 7 atrocities, triggered by Islamists who believed and still believe that their moment had come because they had breached Israel's security, hitherto thought impregnable even by them. They believed and still believe that the defeat of the Jews presaged the defeat of the Christians. First, Israel would be destroyed, and then the West. And they still believe that. The crowds on the streets of London and other cities who are demonstrating allegedly in favor of Palestine are actually demonstrating their power over the West, that they feel that their moment has come to finally launch, having launched the final onslaught on the West, which will succeed. These demonstrations...
I just want to make the point here, which she's making, I'll just say it in a little bit of a different way, which is that when you protest for Palestine, you're actually protesting for the end of your country's civilization. That is what pro-Palestine-ism in, I don't know, Denmark, Norway, United States, what it really is a call for the destruction of your local community. That's what it means. I know it doesn't sound like it, but that is exactly what it is. When somebody's protesting for Palestine in Manhattan, they mean they want the end of American liberal democracy. They want the end of that because they want Palestine. That means that you want jihadism, and you want jihadism locally. That's what globalized intifada means. And that's what it means from the river to the sea. Palestine will be free. They mean from the river all the way to the sea, all the way around the globe. They want to take over the world. That's what she's talking about.
Are delirious. And they were delirious when they started on October the 7th, before the Israelis had stopped even being slaughtered. They were on the streets of London in a delirium. We are going to win this. This is our final battle. And that delirium continues horribly on our streets because there has been no pushback by government and other authorities. We have seen open incitement against Jews on the streets. We have seen and are continuing to see the most brazen anti-Semitism from celebrities and other public figures, which has become normalized. We have seen and are seeing this steady rise of an Islamic political bloc in Britain, and I'm afraid to say also here in America. You're a few years behind Britain, but I'm afraid it's the same thing. We are seeing...
Oh no, is she saying that the United States is going to look like the UK? That now I'm not one of these guys who thinks that Israel has to like the United States, has to be around, but in the form that it is today as a global hegemon. But like if I was to see the jihad take over the America, I wouldn't want to see that in any case. In any case, I wouldn't want to see jihadism so empowered that it took over America. No, I would not want to see that.
An alliance, an unholy alliance between the left and the Islamists, an alliance which has turned language and thought in itself inside out to produce an image of demonic Jewish control over the world. It is as if we are living through a posthumous victory of both Stalin and Hitler. Why has this happened? There are many reasons, complicated. Holocaust guilt by the West is part of it. The idea that they can never again have the reality of the Jew as victim. They have to cast the Jew instead as the victimizer to escape their own historic guilt, not just for the Holocaust, but for centuries of Jewish persecution. We have the rise of identity politics based on the hatred of the Western nation state, the hatred of Western culture itself, which has produced for decades an onslaught by Western intellectual elites on the West's core values. And the onslaught on the West's core values has meant an onslaught on Judaism, because it is Judaism, although Christianity is, of course, the infrastructure upon which the West is based, but Christianity didn't come from nowhere. One could say Christianity was a Jewish sect that got slightly out of hand. The values that everybody in the West holds dear, secular or religious, are fundamentally Jewish values, and we're very shy of saying that. Why is all this happening? Well, I think that the Palestine cause is absolutely central. The Palestine cause, as we all know here, is based on nothing other than the destruction of the Jewish state, but more than that, it is also based on stealing the Jews' own history in the land from them. But the Palestine cause has become the cause of causes in the West, which of course is in the business of destroying its own core values, which come from Judaism. No coincidence. In my view, the Palestine cause is a form of holy war, Islamic holy war, and it is a Trojan horse for the Islamization of the West.
I love what she's saying. It's so important. That's why I'm playing this video. It's such an important distinction she's making. This is not just about Israel. This is about the destruction of liberal democracy. You know what? I don't even want to use that term. I don't even like that term. It's the destruction of the non-Islamic countries. Okay, you call it the West. I don't think of Israel as the West, but okay. Bottom line is, Palestine is a cudgel against the world because it's a cudgel against the Jews. It is anti-Semitism. It is anti-Westism. It is anti-biblical values. It is a machine of swallowing up the world in Islamic values. That's what it really is. And she's calling that out.
By adopting the language and the moral inversion of the Palestine cause, the West has bought into the agenda for its own destruction at the hands of Islam. This is a death wish by the West. And if you have a death wish, you cannot fight a death cult, which is what the West is facing in the forces of Islam. It cannot fight
a death wish coupled with a death cult. Islam, a kind of death cult, radical Islam, and a death wish, the end of European raison d'etre. They're not quite sure what to live for. They don't have a reason to live for. And they have what Hoffer used to call self-loathing. They don't like themselves inside. They don't understand. They feel themselves to be morally inferior. They think that they deserve to be destroyed. And so they kind of want to see that come faster. And by the way, as Jews, how much do we stand against all this with our chai necklaces, with our love of life? And sometimes people say, like, we say we love life. It's more than that. It's we love God who gives us life, who gives us opportunity, who wants us to build and to create and to be fruitful and multiply and to raise our children. We have purpose. We have purpose. Jewish people are, in another word, purpose, consciousness, purposefulness. When you lose consciousness and you lose purposefulness, you start to hate the Jews because you hate yourself. It's some deep psychology here, but it is also in policy eroding England, eroding America. And there are elements, by the way, that want to use that here to erode Israel.
Because it no longer knows what it is. The West no longer has the will to defend itself because it no longer knows what that means. And insofar as it ever knew what it means, it has tried to destroy it by telling itself that the West is to be hated. This has created a vacuum into which has marched the Islamists to conquer the West because the West is paralyzed. So what can we do to fight back? We can do a lot to fight back, and we're not doing it. We can do a lot to fight back with a very different strategy. But unfortunately, the Jewish world has never even had a coherent strategy. Until now, the responses of the Jewish world to this, unlike, for example, Shurat Hadin, which I think is almost unique in its proactive, aggressive attempt to fight back to this. In other respects, the Jewish world's responses have been scattergun, not just ineffective, but strategically misguided. For decades, the Jewish world has allowed our enemies to frame the narrative. Our enemies have been able to hijack the language and weaponize.
Well, I don't know if they've been hijacking it as much as we've been very weak about our own narrative. We have not been clear about what we want. And as my friend Zev told me this Shabbat, he said to me, listen, Trump was like, take care of Gaza, get rid of the bad guys, take control of it. We're like, we don't want it. If you don't want it, then a vacuum is created and other policies are going to come in. It's not that we've allowed them to hijack it. Well, we've allowed them to hijack it just like we allowed them to hijack our people and our land and our narrative. They've taken all those hostage, and we've allowed them to build up right in front of our nose, in front of our eyes, beneath our nose. And that's what has happened.
The West's post-truth, post-moral culture to push their agenda that Israel and the Jews are on the wrong side of just about everything that is good and right and true. The world has been made to believe that peace and justice in the Middle East hinge on the Palestinians getting a state of their own. Justice for the Palestinians has been deemed to be the issue that drives all before it. By apparently denying that happy outcome, the state of Israel has come to be perceived as the enemy of humanity itself. This is the big lie that we are all up against. But the Jewish world has never identified this big lie as such and has never fought it. It has never told the world the truth. There is no such thing as Palestine. There is no such thing as the Palestinian people.
Wowzers. So simple. There's no such thing as Palestine. There's no such thing as Palestinian people. But Melanie, there is such a thing as a Palestinian Authority. And we created it. And it's in our land. And it creates and pays jihadism every day. It's a brainwashing machine. There is a Palestine, isn't there? It's our own handiwork. We created our own enemy. We built it. And so, yeah, there's no historical Palestine. There's no Palestinian people per se. But there is a team that we've empowered on our land, and that is Israel. And so I would love to say to Melanie Phillips, you're right. There's no Palestine and there's no Palestinians, but there is. We created it, and now it's eroding our narrative in what I call replacement narrative.
The Jewish world has never told the rest of the world that the indigenous people of the land of so-called Palestine are the Jews, that the Jews are the only people who have any entitlement to any of this land, an entitlement based in law, in history and morality, and they are the only people who have an entitlement to all of it. The Jewish world has never said that. Instead, the Jewish world has gone along with the big lie, appeasing it, shaving off its most dangerous edges, but with too many Jews in the diaspora themselves falling for at least part of this lie. But now, ironically, because of this terrible war and this terrible catastrophe that happened to us on October 7, 2023, there is now an opportunity to seize back control of this narrative and reframe it in the interests of both Israel and the truth. Because of October the 7th and these past 2 terrible years, Israel and the Jewish people, I think, have profoundly changed. Israel will never be the same again. The Jewish world will never be the same again. The trauma in Israel will last forever. It has changed the Jewish people in Israel forever. The grief is off the scale. The trauma is off the scale. But out of this terrible thing has come something truly wonderful. It has produced a sense of unity as a nation. We can all see that Israel has fought in the way that it has done because it knows what it is connected to its past. What we have seen is an expression of the indomitable spirit of the Jewish nation. What has been so stirring to me, and I'm possibly to all of you, is what I would consider to be a revival of an ancient, all but buried, collective memory. I have been immensely moved, above all, by the sight of those young soldiers praying with their commanders on the eve of going into the battle in which some of them will lose their lives. I have been immensely moved and amazed by the immense demand fueling now the Israeli economy for the production of tzitzit. Who would have believed all these soldiers, most of whom are secular, have gone into battle wearing tzitzit? These are non-religious soldiers. They are wearing the tzitzit under their armor. They are wearing their collective identity as Jews next to their heart when they go to fight for their people. Because they're not just fighting for their country against an enemy that wishes to eradicate it. That is, of course, true. They are also fighting, in their own words, to defend something else, to defend the sacred history of their people. They are fighting in the honor of the sacred memory of all those ancestors going back into antiquity who kept the Jewish people alive. And now there is a spirit abroad in Israel, which people have not seen before, a spirit among younger people. They will not be diverted from defeating the enemy. It is no longer enough simply to what was called mowing the lawn, to keep the enemy down on the basis that they're always going to be there and we're always going to fight them. No, enough. We will now fight to defeat the enemy because we know that only defeating the enemy is what we should be doing. And there's been a realization that this idea of mowing the lawn, this idea of not going too far, this idea of doing what the world expects us to do, that is galut mentality, that is diaspora mentality, that is trying to please and appease the world.
I just want to make one tiny correction. Galut mentality is exile mentality, not diaspora mentality. Diaspora is Jews that choose to live outside the land of Israel. Exile is the state of Jewish people when we're kicked out of the land. Today, we're not in a state of exile because God is bringing us back to the land. We are maybe some of us maybe choose to be in diaspora, but we have what she's talking about is galut mentality, what I call ghetto mentality, which you're stuck in the old way of thinking that you need to appease, that you need to be small, that you need to connive to survive. And that is certainly a sickness that the Jewish people are hauling with them after 2,000 years of exile. Now in the redemptive time, we're still holding that exilic ghetto mentality.
But the world we now understand from what we've been living through and are still living through, the world cannot be appeased. It has to be fought. It has been described, and I think most wonderfully, as a move from Talmud to Tanakh, by which I mean this: the Talmud, that collection of rabbinical ordinances, which justifiably can be said to have kept the Jewish people alive since their exile from the land of Israel is very much a diaspora mentality. It is a mentality which looks inward, which says we are up against a world which hates us, we have to protect ourselves. The Tanakh is full of stories of the Jewish people of antiquity fighting real battles, killing real people in defense of their nation and their people and their faith. And that is what has to be done. And I see that what we are seeing now in this war that has been fought is the resurrection of the Tanakh Jew, the return of the heroic Davidic warrior. Strength, not weakness. Now, the war is not over, but we've seen that Israel has amazingly become the strongest power in the region, victories that...
By the way, many people that make aliyah, that is emigrate to the land of Israel, immigrate into our country, are people who have started studying again the Tanakh, the Bible. The Bible gives you strength. The Bible is about the Jewish people in the land. That's what the Bible is. I don't know if I quite agree with her that the Talmud is insular. I don't think I agree with that. But I would say, because I think that really there's a lot of very strong sages and a very strong wisdom there. But I understand what she's saying. The Talmud is written as a book of collection of laws and disagreements about the law. And I study the Talmud and I love it. But absolutely, the land of living in the land of Israel, if you want guidance on that and inspiration for that, then of course you go back to the Tanakh. You need both. You need the Tanakh to give you the inspiration to have leadership in this land, to have strength to fight the wars in this land and to survive in this land. You need the Talmud to tell you how to serve God properly anywhere around the world, and certainly in the land of Israel, because the Talmud tells us how to fulfill those commandments.
Could never have been imagined. So Israel has a lesson too for the West in how to fight an enemy, but it has a much deeper lesson for the West. We know the West needs Israel, despite what it's saying about Israel. The West needs Israel more than Israel needs it for military intelligence, for military hardware, for military intelligence, for Jewish genius. But beyond that, the West needs Israel for the moral and cultural lesson that Israel is currently teaching the West. Look at Israel's birth rate. It is not a small detail. 3 to 4 children per child. It's not because the Haredim are having so many children. You may be either horrified or delighted to learn that the average Haredi woman who was giving birth to an average of 12 babies per woman is now giving birth to a mere 8 per woman. This birth rate of 3 to 4 children is being fueled by secular people, modern Orthodox people. It's being fueled by the idea that they want to have Israeli children because they want Israel to continue. Why do they want to have Israeli children and want Israel to continue? Because they believe in it, they love what it represents, they understand it represents the Jewish people, they love the Jewish people, they want the Jewish people to continue.
Well, it's not just love. It's not just love. It's also hope. It's also hope. It's also first thing to fulfill God's will to populate this world. It's to have a lot of Jewish children and to teach them. It's also a reflection of the hope that is the Jewish people have. Hope in our faith, hope in our land, hope in our return, hope for a third temple. Like, we really believe that. We live with that consciousness. And it's great to just be like, yeah, we believe in it. We believe in it. We believe in it. We believe it's happening. We believe it will happen. Bezrat Hashem. And that's why we're having babies. We have cranes and pregnant women. Cranes and pregnant women. That is the great sign for hope. I was thinking that would be maybe a title of a book that I would write. Cranes and pregnant women.
What is showing the West is that only by connecting to your past, to your history, will you ensure you have a future. To have a future, you have to want to have a future. The West needs this lesson to survive, but many diaspora Jews need to learn it too, because too many diaspora Jews have drunk the Kool-Aid. Too many diaspora Jews have been seduced by the liberal universalist narrative of the United States Democrats, the United Kingdom's Labour Party, Australia's Mr. Albanese, Canada's Mr. Carney, the narrative of the brotherhood of man, kumbaya, John Lennon's Imagine, a world without religion or nation, a world in which there is nothing to fight or die for. That is the mantra of the modern Western liberal. Israel knows there is everything to fight and die for.
And to live for.
Israel is teaching the West that Israel is a nation whose identity is rooted in a history based on the faith of a people in the land. Jews and non-Jews need to understand that this Judaism, represented by Israel, gave the West its civilized values, values such as respect for every human life made in the image of God, the priority of justice and compassion, moral responsibility. To fight, you need to know and love your identity. Israel gets it. Now, diaspora Jews need also to realize you are not just Americans with Judaism added on. In Britain, they're not just British Jews with Judaism added on. They are part of the British people, you are part of the Jewish people and the Jewish nation, and that should come first. First and foremost, you are Jews. Everything else is secondary. Now, this means a change of strategy completely. It means changing from defense to offense. I don't mean offensive, I mean offense in a different way. Supporters of Israel have always played defense. This means that we all argue on the ground defined by our enemies. We're feeding the Gazans, not starving them. We're not committing genocide or war crimes, we're the victim of these things. Once you're on the ground defined by your enemies, you've lost the argument before you've even started. It's just like, when did you stop beating your wife? We've been answering that question for decades, and we wonder why we have lost the argument. Instead, it means taking...
We've also lost the argument because we refuse to have good policies that make sense to any normal person, right? Simple policy is they attack you from Gaza, so you destroy your enemies, take over Gaza, and never give it back again. That's policy that everybody can understand. You don't talk peace with your enemies. You talk about destroying your enemies, vanquishing your enemies. You have to have normal policies for people to take you seriously. But if you keep on creating a Palestinian Authority and funding them or funding Hamas through Qatar, that's stupid policy. And that stupid policy is disrespected. It is contemptible, held in contempt, and therefore we also are hated because we say one thing, but we actually do another. And so we could say, oh yeah, Hamas is our enemy, and here's a lot of food for them so that they could be well fed, and we're not going to cut off their electricity because it might cause a problem. You have stupid policies. People don't respect you.
The initiative by attacking our opponents and doing so on the ground where their vulnerabilities lie, attacking them on their own territory, telling the Western public directly how their media and governments are lying to them. And that means telling the truth for once about what Israel is. Start telling the truths never told. Address head-on the basic lie of Palestine. Call out Muslim anti-Semitism, a forbidden topic by the Jewish community leadership in Britain. Never mention Muslim anti-Semitism. Islamophobia is the same as anti-Semitism. We're all basically facing the same enemy. Really? What a terrible thing our community leadership has done to us. We should be publicizing every statement. We should be publicizing every single statement that the Palestinian Authority is channeling Nazi tropes of Jew hatred. And above all, we should start, for once, properly promoting the love of Judaism, the love of Israel, and the love of Jewish people among our Jewish young. I don't know what they're teaching them in the Jewish schools, but they're not teaching them what they need to know to fight this properly. The West is beginning to wake up horribly late to the threat of Islamization in its midst. America, where this process is not as far as advanced as it is in Britain, but it is nevertheless making steady inroads, needs to do much more than it has done. In conclusion, Israel is not just holding the line for the West, militarily speaking, in the Middle East. It is battling the very same Islamist forces that are now achieving critical mass in the West and increasingly threaten its identity and way of life. Israel is not the problem. Israel is the West's solution. That is the message that the Jewish world should be pushing at every opportunity to reframe the narrative, telling the West that Israel defeats its enemies because it has a will to live. That is because it knows what it is, it loves what it is. By contrast, the West has told itself it hates what it is, it no longer even knows what it is. This is a recipe for cultural suicide. The West is unable to confront the Islamist death cult because it has a death wish itself. Israel is telling the West, you should choose life, and this is how you do it. In my view, this is an absolutely seismic point in Jewish history. This is the Jewish moment. We must rise to it. Am Yisrael Chai.
Okay. I think there's a lot of strong points there. I think the strong point about the West having some kind of death wish, some kind of suicidal kind of attitude. My producer was telling me before the show that progressive folks are just like, I don't know, like if they come to destroy me, it's because I deserve it. It's because my culture deserves it. They hate their own culture. It's self-loathing culture. They don't think that they're just. Israel thinks it's just. I think I'm just. Sue me. I think I'm just, Baruch Hashem. I think I'm just. I think the Torah is just. I don't know if I would know who is just and who is not just if I didn't have a Torah that would keep me going on a path of clarity, of identity. You know, I started thinking to myself, there are many metaphors that you could use for Israel. But maybe one of the most apt ones is anchor. In a world that's unhinged and is not anchored. Let me start that again. A world that rejects the Jewish people and the Jewish story is a world that's going to be unhinged, disanchored, unanchored, without anchor. When you're without anchor, you sail the world if you know where you're going, but if you stop knowing where you're going, you are lost at sea. And you want to kill yourself, or you want to assimilate onto whatever shore you land on. The Jewish people act as a kind of anchor because they anchor the world in a godly attitude, or that's what they should be doing. The Jewish people who lose themselves, the anchor of Torah. It's like now that I think about it, I'm thinking about it out loud with you. It's like an anchor within an anchor. If the Jewish people are anchored, then the world and the world anchors itself in those Jews that are anchored. Then the world kind of, when you have an anchor, it's a little bit like another. I don't like to mix metaphors, but it's like an axis. The world spins on an axis that makes sense. The minute you're off of that axis, the centrifugal force is out, and you're just boom. You're just exploding. You're falling. You're going everywhere. That's what's happening with the world right now. It's so ironic though, because Israel is such an anchor that exists. But here I would say, and this is why I'm not a big Netanyahu fan, I don't think that we have anchored ourselves properly in our identity and in our heritage. And so we got to get back to Bible. We got to get back to faith. And when Israel's anchored, then the world can anchor itself around Israel. Ironically, I think that Israel in many ways is anchored today, but the world is throwing off the anchor of Israel, throwing off the anchor of wanting to listen to God, to have, people are very haughty. They don't want God to channel to them through anybody else. And they don't, when you're haughty against Israel, you're actually haughty against God himself. You just don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. I'm not interested in hearing your stuff, God. I don't want to hear it. I am the truth. I am my own anchor or my own ship. And the world is in a lost place a little bit. It's in a lost place, indeed. We are going to have on a very special guest in a minute. I want to get ready for that. So let me please get myself prepared by also downloading some of the videos that he's sending me right now, my good friend, and you'll see who it is in just a minute. So this is I don't want to tell you what this is yet. I don't want to give it away. I don't want to give it away. Give it away, give it away, give it away, man. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to hold on, and soon we're going to have a very special guest. Let's take a little tiny baby break. I want to hear from you guys. I want to hear you say shalom. I want to hear where you guys are from. For example, from Thailand over here. That's awesome. And thank you so very much. And what I was talking about, the anchoring before, says question to know. 662 Torah is grounding for sure. The Jewish people have quite a gift to share. Absolutely. That's absolutely correct. And I want to remind everybody that you can support the show in various ways. You could do it through buymeacoffee.com/Yishai. And we have buymeacoffee.com/Yishai. We also have at Yishai Fleischer TV. We're going to be having awesome new product giveaways. And I want to just show you, if you don't know about our awesome product store before we get to guest, I just want to show you this. This is so cool. If you go to our YouTube page, right? If you go to our YouTube page, which says Yishai Fleischer TV, and you go over here to store, we have really cool stuff, including this awesome indigenous Judean mug, your cup of truth. Okay, that's really cool. Okay, check out this mug right here. You want this one or this one or this one? Those are awesome. Yeah, indigenous Judean. Proud of it, you bet. Woo! That's awesome. And there are other really, really cool things at the store, including this sticker. Check out this sticker. Hold on one second. Oh, yeah. Look at the sticker. I stand Israel. I stand with Israel. Awesome sticker. $7.95. That's really not so bad. And it's an awesome sticker designed by the very amazing Malka Fleischer. Okay. So that is the little break that we're having. And you are welcome to join. There's so many great ways. Yishai, I live in Tzfat. Wow, is it godly here? You bet it's godly. I love Tzfat. I love Tzfat. It's so great. And I also want to thank, before we go on, I want to thank Corey Berg, Building Fund, Tractor Fund. Thank you very much for your super chat. Okay, my friends, now it's time for one of our favorite guests here at Yishai Fleischer TV. We love Mansour Ashkar. We love this guy. He's a great influencer. He's a Druze influencer. He's an Israeli Druze influencer. He's a father. He's a former IDF Special Forces officer. He lives outside of the land today, but he's a great YouTuber and a great explainer and a great conversationalist, and also a friend who I have not had coffee with yet. But inshallah, with the help of God, we will have coffee together soon. Mansour Ashkar, welcome to the show. Shalom and welcome to you.
Shalom, shalom, and thank you for welcoming to the show. It's always a pleasure being here.
You are the best. What is going on with you? What is with your cool background? You got cool stuff going on there. What's going on? What's going on with that?
That's it. I took the time to finally make a nicer background than just a curtain and a wall. I started working on my studio here.
I love it. It's awesome. It's awesome. It's an awesome studio. And thanks so much for joining us. Let's talk about a few things. I'm sure you got a lot of important things, but I know you did a very important video about the following story: the Afghan national who killed a National Guardswoman in Washington D.C. and injured another guard. Here's a little bit of a video on that.
Thanks, guys. We begin with a Fox News alert now. America is mourning one of the West Virginia National Guardsmen shot on Wednesday, just blocks away from the White House. President Trump announcing the tragic news that 20-year-old Sarah Beckstrom has passed away. 24-year-old Andrew Wolf remains in critical condition. This is the Faulkner Focus. Hello, everyone. I'm Julie Banderas in for Harris today. D.C.'s emergency responders paid respects to Sarah Beckstrom last night with a dignified transfer of her body from the hospital to the medical examiner. President Trump, meantime, speaking out about those victims last night.
She was savagely attacked. She's dead. She's not with us. Incredible person. Outstanding in every single way, in every department. That's horrible. The other young man is fighting for his life. He's in very bad shape. He's fighting for his life, and hopefully we'll get better news with respect to him.
Reactions pouring in for Beckstrom. West Virginia Governor Patrick Morrisey says, quote, Sarah served with courage, extraordinary resolve, and an unwavering sense of duty to her state and to her nation. We mourn the loss of a young woman who gave everything she had in defense of others.
Okay, Mansour. So the video here keeps going and talks about this thing about the heroism of this of Beckstrom's life. She passed away from being shot, and there's another person fighting for their lives. But you've covered the story now extensively, and I guess the real question is this jihadism, or as some have claimed that the guy who did it had some mental issues? He was an Afghani. He had helped the CIA. Tell us more about the story and what you think that is the lesson here.
So first of all, my sincere condolences for the families who lost their dear ones, and also my utmost respect for the law enforcement and the brave men and women who stopped this jihadist from murdering more American citizens. In my video, I addressed it, on one hand, from a professional perspective, as you know, someone who was in the Special Forces and who was in the defense and the offense defending the state of Israel, and seeing a few things that could have probably maybe even saved lives and prevented extra life. When you see the suspect, the jihadist, when he's running, shouting Allah Huakbar, you can see already that some of the American National Guard, I think, he is actually running away from him. Now, in the first thing that you do, you should never turn your back to an enemy that is running at you.
Right.
That doesn't give you any advantage over the fight. But apparently, they're not allowed to put their magazine inside their pistols. So when someone suddenly comes and starts doing Intifada revolution, and let's face it, America sadly is going to have more Intifada revolutions like these ones. They asked for it, and now they're getting it, and it's terrible. But that's what happened, guys. And you're going to have to reassess how do you take these things, because if someone is standing out there with a uniform and he doesn't have his magazine inside of his weapon, he's just making himself a target.
Right.
That person going to charge at him, and he ran away, turned his back to him, start loading, and then came back and took him. And in that time, he managed to empty a few more bullets into the heads of these victims, which could have stopped it. Now, we both know from Israel that there's a lot of techniques and training. I'm sure that the American Special Forces, Armed Forces know it. There is easy ways to pull your weapon and load it as you pull it, and just point and even let a bullet go in less than a second.
I mean, it's funny to me. It's funny to me that we have to tell the Americans about how to shoot. I mean, frankly, the Americans are the best in the world at shooting in so many ways. It's a question of attitude. It's a question of attitude. Last week, Mansour, I was training, anti-terror training, 2 days. My fingers hurt. You see, I got a boo-boo in my hand here. Okay, from training. Yeah, I was working hard, and I was training with some of Israel's very, very best. And you're absolutely right. We know how to respond quickly, but at the end, it's a question of attitude. Do you want to beat the bad guys or not? And when we have a government that is against us beating the bad guys, then we're suppressed. We have an attitude like our Minister of National Security says, no, I want you guys to be armed. I want you guys to kill bad guys when they come to hurt Jews and hurt Israelis. We are more at the ready. It's not just a question of technique. It's a question of attitude, isn't it?
Yeah. And it saddens to say, but once you allow Islam into your country, and especially if you allow unfiltered Islam into your country, you will end up facing the same thing that Israel has been dealing with for the last 25 years. And the only difference is that Israel is a million years ahead of you. already in that game. So you're gonna start having more and more policies changing very soon. Look at Germany. I'm in Germany right now, and I made a video that actually I made it like half joking, half not joking, and it reached more than 2 million views already.
Wow.
Just showing the barricades that they have in Christmas markets. How Christmas markets in Germany are looking like a post-apocalyptic market.
Wow.
Every year they have more barricades. Soon they're gonna have barbed wires around it, anti-terror spikes coming out of the floor, police. So once you allow Islam into your country, slowly, you will start having more measures to defend your women and children from being murdered in their holidays. And also you will start applying more and more measures to silence people that will come and start telling you, what are you doing? Like, look at the UK, they literally can put people in jail for tweeting, what are you doing to our country? So this happens only when you bring Muslims to your country. It doesn't happen when you bring Jews to your country, when you bring Druze to your country, when you bring Christians to your country. Germany didn't need to change anything about Christmas when the Polish start coming here, or when the Druze, or when the Jews. It's when they allowed Islam. People don't like to hear it. People don't like to say it. It is what it is, guys. And we saw it right now regarding this Afghani. First of all, it's very controversial because on one hand, I do understand America, and you were in a war in Afghanistan. You had some of the best and bravest of the Afghanis, shoulder to shoulder, standing with you, protecting your lives, and also helping you help them reclaim their country from radical Islam and radical jihad. Now, suddenly under Biden, they just abandoned them, just left out of nowhere, boom, completely out, left them for the worst fate ever. They're gonna suffer. Them and their families are all at high risk. Many of them probably died by the hands of Taliban because they helped the Americans, and Americans left them behind. America
Right.
did feel a little bit uncomfortable about it and initiated a beautiful initiative, kind of to bring these people to their country. But here comes the problem. And that's what I tell my viewers back home, as someone who studied Islam, who comes from the Arab world, who was a negotiator in the army as well. When a Christian or a Jew, let's say, come to your country, and then they have a rough day, their life is destroyed, they lost their job, his wife left him, his best friends betrayed him. If they fall down to rock bottom and they turn to the religion, most likely that religion is going to empower them to think Hevel Havalim, vanity of vanities. What's important is your faith, your relationship with God and with man, and will bring them on a better path. In Islam, the problem in that religion is that inherently it promotes violence. So the only Muslim countries in the world that don't have extreme violence roaming all over the society is the ones that have really strict rules to contain it, because it is a violent religion. So when you have someone who is a Muslim in your country, and there's many peaceful Muslims, beautiful, some of my best friends are Muslims, but you're always stuck with that question, what will happen if things will go sideways in his life? Or I was just talking to a man from Nigeria. His name is Steven, and he have a big YouTube channel there, Frank, and Nigerian perspective. He's a Christian in Nigeria, and they're slaughtering Christians right now, the Muslims in Nigeria. And he came and he said, the problem is, it's like three. You ask yourself, if his friends, jihadists, will come to kill me, all of a sudden they became a majority in the city and they're looking for the Jews or the Christians. Will my Muslim friend call me and warn me? Will he just ignore it? Or will he join them? On October 7, with the Druze also in Syria and in Israel, we saw that many of the friends of the Jews were the one that actually joined in the killing. So that is a question to ask yourself. And with this Afghani, I don't know how religiously motivated his attack was, but from what we hear from the reports, he was shouting Allah Akbar when he was doing it. So even though he might have been on the right track, something must have happened, and he turned. You have the term turn to Jesus moment. Come to Jesus, he had a come to Muhammad moment, and it ended up with killing the infidels in his religion.
We've had many of those situations in America. You remember that doctor in the Texas Army base there, and he was radicalized. He was radicalized. I think what you're saying is that for Muslims to go from non-radicalized to radicalized, is very close, and they are not being subdued. They're not being subdued. For a religion that subdues, they understand being subdued. Okay, come on, let's
I would say it's not only very close, Isha. I will even add to what you're saying is there is forces in your religion that are pulling you, like Christianity and Judaism are generally pulling you to become a more peaceful person. You need to really go mental backflips to justify, going killing, when your religion tells you turn the other cheek. Or, "Al ta'aseh lechavercha ma shesanu alecha." Don't do to your neighbors what is like hated on you. So you need to really go out of the way to enter a state of just unnecessary violence against humans. In Islam, it's just the other way around. The religion calls to kill the infidels. The religion calls to enslave the world and make them either kill them or make them, jizya and work as slaves for them. So a Muslim working in a modern society is kind of stuck between that. Should I listen to my prophet, who also allows marriage with 6-year-olds and who calls for the killing of any human? Or should I somehow justify it? But the only difference is that Judaism and Christianity tolerate discord. They encourage it, especially Judaism. They encourage to come and litpalpel, to talk about it. In Islam, they don't leave a room for that. If you come and you say, oh, so you're saying the prophet was wrong, kill him as well. So that makes it very, very hard for that religion.
Let's watch some videos together and discuss them. I got a few videos that I thought would be important for you. First thing is, let's watch. Here's an interesting video for you. This is a video, somebody shooting a video of my friends. I had Gentiles, lovers of Israel, lovers of the Bible, non-Jews, come and help clean Hebron. Okay, there was a very dirty area, and I brought them to clean. And this a guy named Issa Amru, I don't know if you heard of him, Issa Amru. He's the Gandhi of Hebron. Okay, this guy preaches the end of Israel, the end of the occupation. He says that he wants everybody to be equal, but it's essentially he's an anti-Israel, a very slick anti-Israel activist. And he came out and he filmed these volunteers from the cowboys that came and volunteered in Hebron. Check this out.
I ask you in front of the soldiers to stop the work in my private land. I ask you again to stop the work here and leave. This is the third time.
They're cleaning.
In front of the soldier, I ask you politely to leave. As an Americans, you should not be part of the problem. You should be part of the solution.
He's literally telling him to stop cleaning the land.
Don't touch our land.
So Issa Amru, he put up this video and he wrote, you see these Americans, they kicked out the indigenous American Indians, and now they're trying to kick out the indigenous Palestinians. And he made a whole thing. And of course it went viral. But basically, as you could see, they were cleaning the land. They're just cleaning up garbage, just tons and tons of garbage. And also these friends of mine who are, Bible lovers, lovers of Israel from the nations. One of the main things that they can deal with, which is so hard, they deal with razor wire. There was tons of army razor wire and old razor wire, and they just got it out and cleaned this whole spot. Next week, I'm putting picnic tables there. It's just beautiful. Oh, and it looks over the tomb of the patriarchs and matriarchs. But Issa Amru can't stand it. He can't stand that beautification. What do you think about that, Mansour?
I think in general, it's silly whenever you see a Muslim telling people to get out of the land that is outside of Saudi Arabia. Let's call it for what it is, guys. Islam started in Saudi Arabia. That's their place. No one can take that from them. If anyone invade that, they can come and say, hey, this is my ancestral land. Anywhere outside of that area was taken by them by force through killing and ethnically cleansing many, many religions that haven't survived until today. Many literally stopped existing because of that. So him coming right now and yelling at Jews and Christians who were there before him to get out of the land because they're cleaning the land. I think it just didn't fit with his narrative. I think he was hoping to get some kind of viral video, and they do it all the time. Come and try to provoke some settlers, some religious people, and then everybody will jump on it because everybody loved to hate the settlers, everybody loved to hate the Jews. And suddenly he went there, but he caught the wrong video. He just caught a picnic day with families bringing their children and literally cleaning.
They
It just didn't fit his narrative.
They clean so beautifully, unbelievable. Really, they have managed to help really redeem the land. It's one of the ways that the Arabs kind of conquered the land is with refuse, and then you just don't go there, and then it's no longer it's no longer. There was a horrible video. I don't have the video with me right now. There was a horrible video this week that these Israeli hikers, saw in the Hebron Hills, that Arabs, so-called Palestinians, trap birds. They trap these little birds, and the way that they do it is that they bring little bird cages, and the little bird cage of the bird that they want to trap is tweeting, and then they have nets and they catch all these birds, and such an ecological damage. And it's like
There's actually a crazier video that I saw that shows a satellite image of what happened to agriculture when it becomes under Islam. You can literally see it from space. The place become more desolated and more desert than compared to when it's under Christianity and Judaism. And this is just facts, guys. We're not trying to bash any religion, just saying, you can't ignore these facts. Apparently, many of these countries, not only that they destroy the country and kill its people, they also plunder its land. But that was very much the mentality of the early Arabs, when it came to that thing. They were mostly raiders whose main source of income was not, social insurance and SP 500. It was to go and kill other people and take their wives and their children and their flock, use it as much as you can, and move and kill the next tribe. So when Muhammad came and gathered them, he just basically continued the same kind of mentality. There's so much literature that actually shows pre-Muhammad and after, this is what they were doing. And it's very sad. But I want to ask you something very interesting. I don't know if that's something that you've been thinking. I've interviewed the other day someone from Chalutzei HaBashan.
Okay,
the
Golan
pioneers
Heights?
of the Bashan. Yeah, the ones that want to resettle Syria with Jews. And
Right.
they just actually broke into Syria the other day, and the IDF took them out, and their ideology is that the only way you can ensure security for Israel is by settlements, by having people living there. And when I heard that, when I was an officer in Gaza and we were doing the disengagement, I thought some of these people were delusional. I thought, come on, guys, the IDF is protecting this place, and with all due respect, it's not just because you're living here. But I can't ignore that picture when you saw the rabbi that they were dragging out and they had to sedate him a little bit, and he was screaming and he says, you're doing a mistake. You're doing a mistake. Because of this, they will come to Tel Aviv. They will come to the rest of Israel. And now we all know that he was right. Undoubtedly, disengaging from Gaza was a security strategic mistake. Undoubtedly. Giving them Gaza did not move them an inch toward peace, did not move them an inch toward a better life, and literally brought October 7 on us. And now these guys are saying, Syria belonged to us before, Hevel HaBashan, Gog, Melech HaBashan, and we should go and live there. Og, I keep calling him Gog.
Gog is another guy.
Gog Magog, yeah.
Yeah.
So, Og, Melech HaBashan, and he said, we should go and live there. And me as a Druze, I 100% agree.
Mansour, we talked about this before, but I'll mention it again. To me, one of Israel's, if I had one problem that I would deal with Israel, if I could change one thing that would change everything, is smallness. Israel has a smallness, mental thinking. Okay, it thinks of itself as small. It thinks of itself as a moral ghetto people that if you strike at us, okay, we come out and strike you, but we go back to our smallness. They don't think of themselves as a regional hegemon. They don't think of themselves as a regional power. They don't want to control more people, nice people like the Druze. They don't want to help the Kurds. They don't want to. They want to kind of there's a smallness, and of course it's a mistake. And I'll give you another example of that. Look what happens when Israeli companies become successful. They exit. They sell out. They can't deal with being too big. And the answer is, and look who the biggest sinner of that was actually Menachem Begin. Menachem Begin gave away the Sinai. Israel won the Sinai, part of it in 48, all of it in 56, again in 67, again pushed back in 73. Every time God is telling you, hold on to this land, be big. You need this for defense. You need this for oil and gas. You need this to control the 2 sea lanes. You need this for your personal defense. You're a tiny little Jewish state. You need defense. You need big borders. Okay. You need what they call defensible borders. The defensible borders are big. Okay. Look at the Druze right now. Druze turn to Israel and they say, listen, protect us, control us, make us part of Israel, or at least give us independence and confederate with us. Do something. No, we don't want to do that. Why not? Why not? You want to be big. Be big.
Be big. And I don't know if you got the video that I sent you.
Yes,
but
I have.
Right now, I know you're in the middle of the show. You might have not seen it, but something
I haven't seen it,
big.
but I'll see it with you together. Hold on one second.
Show
Let's
it now.
see it together.
Something big is happening in Syria, guys. Show this video,
Okay,
please.
here we go.
Syria have just declared jihad over Israel, calling for their Bedouin tribes and their Muslim Sunnah army to go and charge into Israel. This is the same jihad that was called to go and massacre the Alawites, the same jihad that was called to go and genocide the Druze. And when that jihad was called, hundreds of thousands of Bedouins and Muslims came from all over the region and went in a blitz attack. The same thing that happened when they took over Syria. It's the same jihad to mobilize. They're literally calling for the men by the tribes. This tribe, get your men ready. This tribe, get your men ready. Calling them to come and all attack Israel. Guys, this is not a joke. Israel, ready your airplanes, ready your tanks, protect your border. Don't do the same mistake you did on October 7th. And this is officially by the government. This guy here, he works for the government. He is the right hand of Al-Jawlani. We've been warning you about this for more than half a year now, and it is happening. They're getting ready. Do not take it lightly. If Israel will be ready, they would just lay waste on them and make the world a better place by eliminating a lot of jihadists. But if Israel is not ready, we're going to have hundreds of thousands of jihadis running all at once towards Israel. I'm not saying that to scare people, but I'm saying it because it is the reality. They're saying it. How many times do you need to say, listen to them when they say it? They're literally walking. This is all happening in one day, by the way. Different locations. All the videos that I'm showing you today, every one of them is happening in the same day in different locations, calling for the entire army of Syria, the entire ISIS people flag, in Al-Qaeda Syria, flags, to mobilize and to bring jihad over Israel. We're calling for them now.
بالراية السوداء.
ISIS and Al-Qaeda flags. Now, calling for jihad.
All right, so we got a sense of this, but before you comment on this video, let me play a different video, and then you can comment on both, okay? Because maybe I'm a little confused. Check this out.
Strong leader. He comes from a very tough place, and he's a tough guy. I liked him. I get along with him. The new president of Syria. And we'll do everything we can to make Syria successful, because that's part of the Middle East. We have peace now in the Middle East. First time that anyone can remember that ever
Great news. We have peace now. I didn't know that.
happening. And, as you know, Syria is a very big part of the Middle East, very important part. If you look back at Syria for years, they had the doctors, the lawyers, they had so many of the great intellects. It's an amazing place with great people. And we want to see Syria be successful along with the rest of the Middle East. So I have confidence that he'll be able to do the job, absolutely. We want to see Syria become a country that's very successful, and I think this leader can do it. I really do. I think
He's talking about Jolani.
this leader can do it. And people said he's had a rough past. We've all had rough pasts.
We've all had rough pasts. I was never a member of Al Qaeda. I was never an ISIS guy either. So I don't know. You know what I mean? you know what I mean? I was in high school. You know what I mean? I maybe smoked a cigarette, but come on. I didn't have I'm not a murderer, a mass murderer. That is not part of my rough past. Hold on one second.
But he has had a rough past, and I think, frankly, if you didn't have a rough past, you wouldn't have a chance. He gets along very well with Turkey, with President Erdogan, who's a great leader. Erdogan's a great leader and very much in favor of what's happening in Syria. We have to make Syria work. Syria is a big part of the Middle East. And I will tell you, I think it is working and really well. We're working also with Israel on, getting along with Syria, getting along with everybody.
Okay, so there's Mansour Ashkar. You're a Druze. You're living in Germany. You're a YouTuber. You're a former Special Forces in Israel. And now you're watching President Trump say, you just released a video saying that the Syrian jihad is getting ready to march on Israel. But you see that President Trump is sitting there. And where's the video of Jolani also doing the three-pointers, shooting basketball with American leaders? And he's saying, just Jolani, he's okay. He's okay. He's a good leader. He's got a checkered past. Come on, it's fine. I mean, just a few months ago, brutalizing horrifically the Alawites, brutalizing horrifically the Druze. We're talking about thousands of people just in the most barbaric way, murdered, brutalized, beaten, and all the bad stuff. And this guy is Jolani. He's behind it. There's President Trump sitting with his red tie saying, no, he's okay. He's doing his best out there. He's a good leader. Syria is important. We hope that this guy succeeds. I could see by your facial expression that that's painful stuff.
It is painful. I mean, tell me someone told you to say something you don't believe without someone told you something to say something you don't believe. Like, there is no way that Donald Trump, he's not an idiot. He's not stupid. He's a very impressive leader. He's done amazing stuff. There's no way that he believed what he just said out of his mouth. He had a rough past. I mean, come on. Donald Trump is known for someone that has a keen sense of like what is happening around him. And he's not afraid to call Islam for what it is, and to call radical jihad for what it is, and to call terrorism for what they are. And all of a sudden, an ISIS and Al-Qaeda terrorist that, by the way, never stopped being a terrorist. You see, just last week, Israel eliminated the number 2 in Hezbollah that had a $5 million bounty on his head. Jolani had a $10 million bounty on his head, so he was way bigger terrorist than that. That was a terrorist of America, by the way. America put that bounty on him. Jolani never stopped being a terrorist. All of a sudden, one day,
but he got a haircut.
He seized an opportunity, and he went and took over a country, and he continued everything that he was doing before. Killing minorities, killing people, promoting radical jihad, Salafi Sunnah, and etc. But suddenly he stopped being a terrorist, and the White House invited him and give him a golden perfume, like Saddam Hussein will give you some kind of a golden AK-47. Like, there's something is really bizarre is happening, and you can't come and call him. By the way, Israel just raided yesterday. Israeli Tzanchanim reserve unit raided the village called Beit Jan, which is why they want to invade Israel now, by the way, where there were 2 terrorist brothers that were known to put IEDs and shoot missiles on IDF and were plotting apparently to invade maybe the Golan Heights. Israel went to arrest them and didn't know how big it was, because when they took them out of their bed, they got jumped by about more than 20 terrorists that ran there immediately and started shooting. 4 Israelis got injured, 2 more in the fighting, and then evacuated. And then an Israeli helicopter shot a Humvee that was left behind because of the fire and etc. to not leave in the hands of the enemies. Interrogating these guys, Israel is finding out now that these 2 guys were involved with the government in coordination of the attacks on the Alawites, and in coordination of the attack on the Druze, and now in coordinations of building a terrorist belt around the border with Israel for the future when they will want to come and invade Israel. Now, why is that happening? Why are we not seeing Syrian soldiers doing that? Because Israel told Jawlani, get your militias away from the border. We see any Syrian soldier or tank, we blow him up. We're not letting you be on our border. We know who you are. You're ISIS and Al-Qaeda. You might fool Trump. You might fool the American people. I don't think they fooled Trump. I think something else is behind the scene there. But you might fool the Americans and the Europeans. You don't fool us. So what he's doing is he's using these original, OG friends that he had from the hood from before, without uniform, and they're the ones right now who are building an infrastructure of terrorism around the border with Israel for one day to invade Israel. Meanwhile, they're ethnically cleansing Christians and Druze and Alawites in Syria, happening as we speak. And for some bizarre reason, America have became their PR agent. I mean, I understand when Tucker Carlson becomes a PR agent for dictators and mass murderers. He's been doing that for a very long time now for a very bizarre reason. But the United States of America taking that role, something weird is happening. I have my theories about it. They're a bit crazy, but
I'd like to hear your crazy theories. Let's discuss it for a second. To me, when I see President Trump doing this stuff, I think I know what's going on. I think he's trying to get everybody away from the hands of China. I think he thinks that there's only one war, which is U.S.-China. And for us, Israel, we're used to being in the middle of superpowers. It's really like Soviet Union versus America, except the weird thing is that China sells everything to America. That's like the weird plot twist here. But he thinks if I don't help them, if I don't connect with them, then they're going to fall into the hands of the Chinese. And the Chinese want to get everybody. They want to get Turkey. They want to get Syria. They want to get Qatar. They have a relationship with Qatar. He wants to get people on his side as much as possible so that he can push back against a Chinese control of this world, which Chinese control of this world is actually very, very easy to do. They're willing to give you cheap stuff. They're willing to help you build up your country. They have no moral qualms. So, he's going to do that. And I think that he sees that I think also he is in bed in some way with Qatar, with the Saudis. And I'm sure they're whispering in his ear as well. And they're probably saying to him, stick with the Syrians. He's okay. He's okay. He won't attack America. Feed him. It'll be good. And then you'll keep China away. And so it becomes this ugly circle where you're trying to keep China away, but you're basically selling out to the jihad in the meantime. And the jihad in the meantime is playing a double game. They're going to be happy to later on sell back out to China or anybody else. They have no problem with that. Them and the Chinese see eye to eye with the world, right? They want to get rid of America. And I don't think they have a problem with one another. China's big enough by itself. So that's my theory when I see, and by the way, look at another Trump jihadi moment was with Mamdani, right? He's like, I can work with this guy. What's the difference? What's the difference between Mamdani and Jolani? Okay, Mamdani doesn't have the same experience, but ideologically, it's not that different.
Muslim
right?
Brotherhood, both of them Muslim Brotherhood, yeah.
So
in one hand, he kicks Muslim Brotherhood out of the like declares a terrorist organization. On the other hand, he basically endorsed a Muslim Brotherhood indoors and outdoors. So yeah, it's a game. It's a game they're playing, and it's a tough game.
You have any other
I understand
thoughts
your
about
point completely. No, so I understand your point completely about China, and I think there is here American interest, Israeli interest, and the Arab world interest, and they're not always seeing exactly eye to eye in the priority of things. For United States, undoubtedly, it's a smart move to try to take potential allies from China, and bring them to Team America. 100%. That's just makes your team stronger, make the enemy team weaker, and undoubtedly not your friend. With that said and done, it's making Saudi Arabia and Turkey it feels like they became a closer advisor to Trump than Israel was before.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to remember who's your real allies and who's not. Who got your back and who, the moment that you slip, will literally leave you for the dogs. And that is something that, America should be careful with that game playing. Saudi Arabia and Turkey have an interest to leave any Muslim territory under Islam and to conquer more Muslim territory. That is literally their jihad. So for them, they don't want to see Syria fall from the hand of an ISIS and terrorists. Undoubtedly, like you saw the flags right now. There were ISIS and Al Qaeda flags. There was the right hand of Jolani standing in the crowd, whispering as he speaks. So it's not like a theory.
I mean, when you see Jolani, do you see the murderer of your people? I'm asking you straight out.
I see definitely the murder of my people. I see someone who want to murder my people twice, the Druze and the Israelis. Someone who undoubtedly is an enemy to everything that I grew up and stand for, which is tolerance, peace, coexistence between Jews, Christians, Arab, Muslim, doesn't matter what. He's the enemy of that. A friend of mine the other day asked me, if you could have clicked a button and made him disappear right now, would you do that? And I told him, 85% yes, 15% no.
Wait, let me
And he
guess.
asked me, like,
Let me guess. I know why. I know why. I think I know why. Because at the
No.
end, the Assad regime was even worse. And
No.
the Assad regime, and you got rid of the Assad regime through this thing. And okay, so he'll go at some point as well, but at least this horrible thing is gone now.
No, actually, no. The Assad regime was not worse. It's hard to say that. I'm hearing that from Syrians that are saying
Okay.
Assad was a drug lord, was a Pablo Escobar, Mustafa Escobar. He cared about drugs and money. Yeah, and he didn't really care
His
what he put
brother
in
was
your
in
mouth.
charge of a massive drug business.
One of the biggest in the world. Yeah.
What
And
was
he
it?
didn't-
Ecstasy or what was the stuff?
Like cheap man cocaine and ecstasy and stuff like that. Yeah. So he didn't care about how do you pray, what do you pray, what do you put in your mouth, and how do you dress. He was just bad to everybody. Jolani
Right.
is literally doing religious ethnic cleansing. But here's what I'm saying is, and bear with me, it's a crazy conspiracy. It's the first time that I share it online, so
Let's do it.
maybe I'm completely out of it. Let's ping pong. Jolani was arrested by the CIA, and he was in the same prison cell with Baghdadi, the head of ISIS. They were sitting
What,
together.
Bakr al-Baghdadi?
Yeah, they were friends, and they were both arrested by the CIA for a while, and then they got released. What if America managed to recruit Jolani then? And then told him, we're going to build your way up to be the leader of Syria one day. And you're going to be our guy. Now, crazy as it is, how do you explain?
That's not crazy. That's CIA stuff.
Yeah, how do you explain that all of a sudden Syria collapsed, Hezbollah is crippled, and out of nowhere, Jolani just goes and raids and conquers that country out of nowhere.
Okay.
Boom. And then out of nowhere, no more bounty on his head. Out of nowhere, still playing the game of Israel. This is out of nowhere. He is reaching the house, playing basketball with the CIA and the generals that had him arrested. Meanwhile, he is the leader of Syria. And here where the crazy theory came. Syria is run by about 27 terrorist organizations. The mainstream ones are ISIS. Actually 40, but it's 27, and then a sub one. So there's like Israel have startups, Syria have terrorist, pop-ups. Kind of. That's how it is. So Syria have about 27 terrorist organizations. The mainstream are ISIS and Al Qaeda. The rest are even more extreme than ISIS and Al Qaeda. They like make ISIS and Al Qaeda look like the moderate ones. Jolani's problem is that if he will try to bring Syria properly to Team America, Team West, and change it from within, they will kill him. Because they're already angry at him. They're actually complaining that they want Jolani maybe to be thrown as he proves himself because he's not killing enough Christian, Druze, and Alawites. That's like the Democrats in the US will elect a Democrat and then will complain that he's not really following up with the environmental policy that he promised.
Right.
And you sold us out for votes, but you're not really changing the climate change. So you sold us out for votes. You're not really killing enough Druze and Alawites and Christians. So the theory is saying that the only way for him to control Syria is by sending all these jihadists to go and charge on Israel and let Israel just wipe them out. which Israel will play the role again of, killing all the bad guys for Team Planet Earth and getting all the heat for it. The Night Watch, basically the Night Watch in Game of Thrones. They're the ones who pay the price, protect the realm, front line of defense against radical Islam jihad, and everybody hates them for that. So if there's even a slight chance that this is true, that there's some true into that, then I would not want this guy taken out of the game. But everything else is just true, and that's like a bizarre thing. So again, I'm not pro Jolani. I'm not Team Jolani. I think he's a terrible terrorist. But I think if that one conspiracy theories, aliens, tinfoiled jihadist heads, then there's a big game being played here. Because how can you explain? How did he survive so long? Israel didn't take him down. Israel could have taken, he's an Al-Qaeda ISIS. Why did Israel not take him down? He took over the country, and then he goes and America is backing him up. Everybody's on his side. He didn't change anything. He never stopped being a terrorist. He never condemned it.
Well, he's not outside. We know that he's we as you said, we saw him with CIA folks. Okay, it's very, very, very plausible. I mean, the CIA basically created Al Qaeda. They helped create what's our departed friend's name? So not Saddam Hussein. Got rid of that guy. No. Who did we kill in Al Qaeda? What was his name? The number one of Al Qaeda.
Osama bin Laden.
Osama.
Osama.
You forget. I remembered I remembered the other guy. There's Al Baghdadi. Yeah, I like that name, Baghdadi. I thought that's a good rapper name, Baghdadi. I thought that. Yeah. Let me.
Burka.
I want to explain something about Israel that a lot of people have a hard time understanding, and I wanted to use you as a sounding board, a ping pong, as you said. Israel's a blue state. That's what people don't understand. Israel's a blue state. Jews, a lot of Jews, especially secular Jews, are blue. They're blue environmental. They're blue guns. They're on guns. They're blue. Israel has a lot of guns, but it's actually a blue state vis-a-vis guns. Mm-hmm. If you live in Tel Aviv, you basically can't get a gun. Can't get one gun. When you live where I live, you're allowed to have one gun, and if you're a part of a rapid response team, also an M16. So that's what I have. But most people don't have that, okay? So Jews are, in many ways, this country is a blue country, and it's certainly a blue country vis-a-vis economics. It's a socialist country. Now, if people understand Israel, think about New York for a second, and think about America. Blue states, red states. I've come up with the following chart. Blue states, the color blue splits into 4 colors. Blue, Democrat, becomes progressive. It splits into 4 colors. The first color is rainbow. Blue becomes rainbow. LGBT, that whole thing. Another color in blue is red, not red Republican, not red conservative, red communist, socialist. Fine. So that's 2 colors. The third color is green environmentalist. But green environmentalist is very close to, surprise, green jihadist. Look at Greta. Greta was green environmentalist, and within a second turned green jihad. Right? It was like a 1, 2, 3 jump. My daughter told me that they were teaching Greta stuff before she became anti-Israel. They were teaching it in Israeli schools. Why? Because Israel is a blue state. Now, just like in New York, which is a Jewish, the home of Jews in the diaspora, it's blue, but there's a strong red streak. That strong red streak is amongst believers, the Orthodox Jews, the conservative Jews, conservative values Jews. Okay. So too, Israel has got a strong red streak. Pro-nationalism, pro-guns, pro-defense, pro-Bible, anti-jihad, right? Oh, it's important to say Israel has blue that turns into rainbow. We've got plenty of that. We've got blue that turns, our country doesn't turn blue that turns into socialist communist. That's what it is. It's big time. It's blue to socialist communist all the way. We're a socialist country. We have that. We have blue environmentalism a little bit, but we certainly have blue jihadism. We have blue pro-jihadism, blue to green. We have tons of. And people don't understand that. England, which is going down, has 6% Muslims. Israel, we have a lot more than that. We have a lot of pro-Muslim type, pro-PLO, pro Hamas, pro getting them matriculated into everything, pro them taking over the economy, pro, and feeling guilt, like Western style guilt about our colonialization. We got plenty of that. But we also have a strong red center, especially here in the mountains of Judea and Samaria. We have here people like myself. We represent, and our ministers, we represent pro-Bible, pro-guns, anti-jihad, push back on the jihad, pro-nationalism, pro-Jewish state, and pro-Druze, pro being bigger to the point of helping the Druze, helping the Kurds, helping other people, and allying ourselves with them and pushing back on jihad together with them. Okay? I just wanted to kind of explain that to people because I see people come to Israel. They're like, what? I thought this was a religious state, but it turns out that it's a kind of secular state. I don't understand. Here you guys are, red, but other places you're blue. People get very confused. But the truth is, that's what it is. We're a blue state with a strong red streak. What do you think about that analysis?
I think it's an interesting analysis. I don't know if I agree with everything you said, but that's the beauty about being in Israel, because I think in Israel, when people try to make Israel kind of understand Israel as if it's like America, it just doesn't work. In the left in Israel, I'm not talking the radical left, extreme left, forget about it. The left in Israel are fighter pilots, Mossad agents, Navy SEALs and Sayeret Matkal, and like one of the most badasses, people on the world sometimes, and the right as well. And if you go now to a Sayeret Matkal or a Sheit 13, or even just, grab Shabak split, like random 30 people in different groups, you will find religious Kippot Srugot, you will find Druze, you will find Tel Avivis. I remember when I was in the Special Forces, one of the first shocks that I had as a Druze is when we had 1 day out. We did like a mission in a city, a training, and we usually don't do that. And then we did it very early, and they told us, listen, guys, you can go and party. And that's unheard of. We're like in training. So out of nowhere, we got dressed real quick, and no one had real clothes, kind of. But I had one guy, suddenly I see him wearing a thong, and he's not gay. And he was from Tel Aviv. And I was like,
this story is getting fun. Remember, this is a family channel here, okay?
No, okay, it's gonna stop there. But I was like, but then I realized, like, we didn't even notice that he is a very small, and the other guy was very right. He's very religious. So one
small.
Of the
you mean left? He's very left.
Yeah,
yes.
He's very left, not very small.
Let's keep it there. Let's keep it there.
Let's keep it there. So what that made me understand is because if Israel didn't have all of the jihadistan around Israel would have probably turned to become LA. Because I think, like you said, there's a lot of socialist, Democrat, blue kind of vibe in Israel. But what happened is that pressure is keeping Israel like a diamond who's under pressure. So, because there's a lot of beauty that comes with the left. There's a lot of beauty that comes with the right. There's ugly stuff that are in the extremes. So because Israel is under so much pressure, it's actually bringing the beauty out of the left and the right in the center of Israel. So I do believe that when people come to Israel, yes, they're going to get a very different experience if they go to Yehuda v'Shomron, or if they go to Tel Aviv, or, if they go to Eilat or to Tzfat. But they will still get a much more balanced people in terms of like worldviews. Like there's not a lot of people in Israel that will tell you that Hamas is a freedom fighters, or that will tell you that Al-Qaeda is good, or Osama bin Laden is right. There's not, like, we're not that crazy yet. No. You don't have people in Israel tell you Intifada revolution is good. And they're a bit more rounded, I feel, even at the both groups. So that's what I'm saying. It's like, I don't know how to say, like, I don't even know if to call Israel blue. Like I would call Tel Aviv blue.
Right. Well, I just meant to say that in many of ways that what Americans that come to Israel, for example, that love the Bible, they come in and they're like, wait a minute. For us, Bible is also conservatism, is also pro-gun and a lot of these things. They come in, they're like, wait a minute, Israel is actually anti-gun, kind of socialist, was very strong on right. Well, yeah, but we don't have so many of them. But
there is quite a lot of people that are pro-abortion in Israel.
Yes,
which would be
definitely.
For Christians or like religious people coming, like you're the land of the Bible.
You know how many conservative folks came to Israel and were like the thing that upset them the most was our COVID policy. They're just like, wait a minute, Israel's like a blue state. And it gets confusing. But you said something now that I love very much, and I just want to kind of close out with this. I think one of the brands that Israel's got to produce, a brand for itself, is actually Tel Aviv and Jerusalem. That's the brand. It's actually Tel Aviv, that modern, impulsive, energetic, nightlife, creative, startup nation energy coexists and is synergized with Jerusalem, the conservative, the biblical, the ancient, the family values, the biblical values. Those things actually coexist. They're not in conflict. They feed one another. That's actually what Israel is. It is a modern happening place with crazy energy and nightlife and new thoughts. And it is a place of the temple and of the high priest and of the Bible. It actually, those are, it's two great lines. And when those two great lines are parallel and they feed one another, they synergize with one another, amazing things can happen. And that's go ahead.
It's beautiful what you just said, because when you think about it, I can see myself living in both places and enjoying my life.
Right.
I can see myself living in Jerusalem, which, like you said, is more conservative, more Jewish, more traditional, but it's very respectful to other religions. Very,
Yes.
very respectful, extremely, more than any place in the world, to other religions. And you'd expect from a place that is conservative and very religious not to be, but it's like extremely tolerant with, like, literally, they're letting the Muslims be on the Temple Mount. That's insane. This place belongs to the Jews.
Maybe that's a little too nice.
That's a little bit, that one is a little bit too nice. Yeah, but in general,
Yeah.
what I'm saying is, like, you can really enjoy there practicing your religious, your religious freedoms and being yourself, even though it's very religious. Now, when you go to Tel Aviv, you'd expect a place that is so liberal to be full of, Columbia students and really radical people that are promoting communism and jihadism, but it's not. In Tel Aviv, there's based people. That's why. So you'd expect that liberals will be very, very open to destructive ideologies. Tel Aviv is not, compared to like the West. And you expect that a place like Jerusalem would be extremely religious, but it's not. And there's something like insane. Like, how is that working? Both places would literally be a great place for a family to move in.
That's right.
Move into Tel Aviv, you enjoy it. Move into Jerusalem, you enjoy it.
And
You can be black, you can be white, you can be Muslim, you can be Asian, like literally both places. It's quite unique.
It's a special thing. Mansour Ashkar, thank you so much for being with us. Love talking with you. You're a Druze. You're an influencer. You're also an Israeli. You're a father, a former IDF Special Forces officer. You live in Germany, which is weird, but we'll figure out one day why you're doing that. You'll have to tell me about that. You're also you're also an excellent YouTuber, and people love your channel. And I definitely recommend that people join. Mansour Ashkar, my producer, loves your stuff. I love your stuff, and you're doing great stuff out there. And thank you so much for being a light for your people, the Druze, being a light for our people, and also your people, the Israelis and the Jewish people, and also for a healthy world. Gosh, like who wants the world to be taken over by jihadism and that darkness? Who wants that, for God's sakes? It's scary. It's scary how people have lost their inner will to live and are just succumbing to some kind of like international suicide, that they're just giving in to these dark forces to give them identity when they have lost their own. That's really sad. So thank you very much for all that you do, Mansour. God bless you out there. Keep up the good work.
Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure being here, brother.
Yeah, salam and alamak. God bless you. Thank you so much.
Bye.
All right, that was Mansour Ashkar. He is awesome. He does so much great work. We really appreciate him so much. And we love the fact that you are with us, friends. You are with us on our show today, and we are doing our best to bring out truth, strength, love, togetherness. Be bad to the bad guys so you can be good to the good guys. That's my little motto. That's one of my many, many mottos. Be bad to the bad guys so you can be good to the good guys. You need that. You need that. Love that description of the synergy. I got a sort of vision of the separation of the Tower of Babel. That's interesting that you say that. But basically, I think that there's, I think that the synergy of Tel Aviv and Jerusalem is actually a key component and should be one of Israel's main marketing PR sells. Like, we are this place that has this duality, this synergized duality. It's not a duality of a split a schizophrenia. No, it is actually something that is what Israel really is. It really is Tel Aviv and Jerusalem. That really is what it is. It is a God-loving country. It is a innovative and unhampered country. Those are semi-different polarities, but when those polarities coexist in a synergized way, and you learn to synergize those energies, that's actually what Israel really is. And it makes it really very beautiful. You know what else is beautiful? You are. Wherever you are out there, you're beautiful. We are so thankful for you. Thank you for all the folks that are out there. For example, somebody just wrote to me from London. Where did that go? I saw that a second ago, but they just keep going. Love from London X. Thank you very much, Celine 5093. God bless you. And thank you, folks, for whatever you are. Our channel here has so many great things to offer you. We do our best to give you opportunities for different kind of videos, Hebrew videos that we translate, a lot of original content. We do original content here, and we hope you appreciate that. If you do appreciate it, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, become a member. I'm making up a membership sign. Become a member. And don't forget to check out our YouTube web store, which Malka runs. So that's great. And also don't forget buymeacoffee.com/Yishai and fight for the number 4, numeral 4, fightforisrael.org, where we beautify the land of Israel and make it strong. Spread Torah out to the world. God bless you, folks, wherever you are. Thank you very much to Yo, my wonderful teammate and producer. Thank you so much. Thanks to all of you, wherever you are. Thanks also for the super chats. You guys are wonderful, and we have a lot more stuff that we got to do together. So let's keep fighting together. Let's keep being strong together, and let's reverberate and rebroadcast the great message that Hashem, that God has in this world. He is trying to come down and to be welcomed by humanity, to have an abode in this lower domain. That is our job as humanity, to bring God's presence to this lower domain. God bless you, folks, wherever you are. Keep doing it. Keep bringing God into your life, and that way bringing God and giving him a place in this lower domain and bringing God into this world. We shall get through the darkness, and there's a great light up ahead. We just got to be strong, be patient, and be part of the story. God bless you wherever you are. Lots of love, lots of blessings from the land of blessings, and shalom.